everybody? Welcome back to the Resleevables Tournament Edition Pro Tour Atlanta 1996. That's a mouthful. This is not. I'm your host, Cedric Phillips. He, co-host, Patrick Sullivan. Patrick, a little Mirage sealed deck, huh?
You want to play a Pro Tour that's sealed deck? How about a Pro Tour that's sealed deck and also the pre-release?
No and no.
And let's go back in time to 1996, where it was actually possible for Wizards to keep the set file under wraps. No preview season.
Okay, well, that part actually sounds fun.
Yeah. You are actually opening up and playing with the cards for the first time.
Now, you know, some people, I'm not actually trying to name any names here, but fans of Magic have said for a really long time, it would be cool to play in an event or a Pro Tour style tournament where you don't exactly know all the cards right away, right? Because a lot of Pro Tours nowadays and over the past, I'd say 10, 20-ish years, a lot of them are a couple of weeks after a set releases. So players have time to, you know, do some testing, figure out what the best limited strategies are, figure out what the best constructed deck potentially could be, form teams, try to break the format, all the other stuff. There's none of that going on in this tournament.
No. It is very hard to imagine.
Yes.
More than any other Pro Tour. I don't even know how the rules would accommodate something like this. If you're not familiar with high levels, or not even high level tournaments, just tournaments in general, you can, for example, ask the judge for the oracle wording of a card.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
How does that work here? Am I just allowed to ask, hey, what instance exists for blue and white, right?
I can't imagine.
No,
you can do that.
There's so many things about it that trying to port over not even modern sensibilities, but like 2003 sensibilities about Pro Tours, just really doesn't work.
It had to be a very unique experience when you're opening these cards for the first time. You have to try to identify which ones are good and then put them in your deck. And more than anything, hope that you're right because the stakes are high.
Well, not only that, you open up your sealed deck and you go, wait, what's phasing?
Well, that's true.
What's flanking? You don't even know what the keywords are.
Yep.
So it's it's not analogous to any other Pro Tour that I can remember.
So that's what we're going to be going over today. This once in a, I was going to say lifetime. I don't know if I want to say that. Once in a once style tournament is what I guess I'll say.
You just can't go back in time and do this.
No, you can't.
Because spoiler leaks are way more likely to happen with the internet and digital clients and, you know, different companies doing different parts of the project.
Yeah.
Like, you really cannot avoid that.
Yeah.
There's other problems too that we can get into. Also, are you just not going to have a preview season?
Well, back then, I think it was acceptable because the internet wasn't that big of a deal then. I'm not saying it didn't exist. I'm just saying it wasn't as ubiquitous as it is now. So I guess not.
Maybe there's one card they show you in Scry or Inquest or whatever. There's no comparison to nowadays where there's a preview card every single day for a month.
It feels like there's a preview card every single day for a year now.
So it's just not compatible with the way that Magic is run as a game and a product today.
Yep.
It's also not manageable with just the general notion of the internet.
Yes.
So I really don't think you can go back in time and replicate that. Now, the idea of doing a sealed Pro Tour was like, I don't think it's good from a coverage end. There's a lot of reasons not to do it.
Yeah.
I think I'd have fun playing in it, sure. But going back and replicating this exact thing, this is a ghost of the past. You cannot do this nowadays.
A ghost of the past is a good way to put it. And so with that, we are going to start going over this ghost of the past with the facts of Pro Tour Atlanta 1996. All right, everybody, it is time to go over the facts of Pro Tour Atlanta in 1996. But before we do, we of course have to hear from our friends over at Tales of Adventure. You can head over to toamagic.com and check out a selection of over 77,000 SKUs in stock, including 80 pieces of the Power 9, every single revised dual land, and singles of all shapes and sizes in every format that Magic has to offer. Every order placed with Tales of Adventure comes with free tracked shipping. UPS next day and 2-day shipping is offered for orders placed before 8 a.m. And Tales of Adventure has completed over 1 million orders lifetime, so you know you'll be in good hands with Michael Caffrey and his staff. If you'll be attending an event that Tales of Adventure will be at, when you're checking out, you can select the event pickup option, so you can simply pick up the cards you've ordered right at the event that you'll be at. You can find a list of events that Tales of Adventure will be attending right on their homepage, toamagic.com. Lastly, when checking out, be sure to use promo code Resleevables to get 5% off your entire order. Tales of Adventure Eternal lives here. Alrighty, let's dive into this ghost of the past Pro Tour, as Patrick so eloquently put it. Pro Tour Atlanta was held on September 13th through the 15th, 1996 at the Atlanta Market Center in Atlanta, GA. You and I have done our fair share of tournaments in Atlanta.
Both Atlanta proper and Duluth.
You say Duluth like it's a bad thing. I don't like your tone.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying we've been around.
What a city.
Just sometimes when we cover an event or play an event that is billed as Atlanta, sometimes it has meant and the surrounding suburbs.
That is true.
That's all.
That is
That's
true.
all I'm saying.
The player hotel was the Marriott Marquis in downtown Atlanta. So it appears they were downtown, which, again, we've had the pleasure of doing. We've done at the Georgia World Congress Center. We've done at least one event there, maybe two. Not sure at this point. We've covered a lot of Magic in our time. Pro Tour Atlanta was this was the 4th ever Pro Tour, and it marked its start of the 1996-1997 Pro Tour season. The second Pro Tour season ever. Don't forget the first one, won by Ali Rod. And this season followed the 1996 World Championship that took place in August. And of course, we have done an episode of that here on the Resleevables Tournament Edition. If you do want to go check that out. Pro Tour Atlanta had 192 players and only one format, the aforementioned Mirage Sealed deck. So here's the details of how the tournament works. You get one deck for the Swiss, and you get a new deck for top 8. So if your one deck for the Swiss stinks, sorry about that whammy. Day 1 consisted of 9 rounds of Swiss. You got to play your Sealed deck 9 times, and day 2 was a single elimination top 8 bracket. That's a lot on the line. That your Sealed deck better be good, man. It better be good.
This is an interesting tournament. I'll give it that much. Can't really compare it to anything nowadays. There's a whole host of problems with doing it this way.
Okay.
Especially when you're in pre-release world.
Okay.
The biggest one to me is, what if you are not a native English speaker?
Okay, that's reasonable.
At least nowadays, that still sometimes can be a challenge. But, hopefully you get to play in your country with localized product.
Yep.
And then you can use Magic Arena and Magic Online to learn the art and as it connects to the cards, where even if you're playing in a Pro Tour where all the cards are in English, just by your own repetition and experience with the art, you know what's going on.
Yeah, sure.
You and I have certainly played in Pro Tours where if every single card that we played with and against was in Japanese, we'd be fine.
Absolutely.
Because we had just done enough testing, right?
Yeah.
That works in the opposite direction too.
Yep. No, that's
doing it with
true.
cards that have never been opened before. That is pretty rough.
Maybe a little more difficult.
I would also wager that I think the whole is this skill intensive or not sort of thing, I think for the most part, just different formats or different experiences in Magic test different skills. And this is not a bad top 8 by historical standards, which we'll get into. So it clearly wasn't just, 8 buffoons with the best Sealed decks beat a bunch of people.
Sure.
Especially at this point where people were so bad at Sealed and Draft that if you had any fluency with what was going on there, you would have a huge edge.
Yep.
That said, the fact that you cannot prepare for the event in any meaningful way means that there's an itch that competitive players like to scratch of like, we're all trying and preparing for this thing and then getting into the competition. And I think just showing up cold and building a Sealed deck I think that would be fun for me nowadays. But thinking about my Pro Tour years, I would have not enjoyed this.
I think I would have been frustrated at the experience. Like, what I like about this tournament is that it's a novel idea, right? The idea of this is cool. The execution on this, I don't want to say not so much because I didn't live it and I didn't play it. Maybe everyone that was there was like, yeah, this is really fun. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of players thought it was fun, but there's a lot on the line. When you're talking about the beginning of a Pro Tour season, Pro Tour points, chasing the dream of qualifying for future Pro Tours, World Championships, being player of the year, all that other stuff. The way that I think professional players approach this game is, we want to lower the variance, and this is like as high variance as you can really go, which is just kind of like, I don't even know what's going on.
I don't know. I think it's high variance, high skill.
Okay.
Because, yeah, of course, if your sealed deck is awful, that's probably going to prevent you from making the top 8.
Yep.
And in that way, it's kind of random. But once you get past a certain threshold of deck quality, we're talking about a point where limited was so underexplored by players.
Mm-hmm.
And the players like Chris Pakula, for example, or Mike Long, who had some experience playing limited before this, had a huge advantage against the rest of the field.
Sure.
Because if you just port over concepts from constructed into limited without the background knowledge of how it works, you're going to get wrecked. That's how most players start playing limited, is they kind of know about constructed some amount and they open up all these cards they would never put in their constructed deck. And what cards are good or bad in this context? No clue.
Guilty.
Yeah, me too.
That's how my Magic career went.
Absolutely. And a lot of us have similar stories there. Another thing, but in terms of like the variance or the lack of information or whatever, keep in mind. So we're talking, this is the pre-release. There's no spoiler anywhere. You don't have a phone with internet on it. None of that.
Mm-hmm.
This is also a set that predates rarity symbols in the expansion symbol. So your opponent kills you with Kaervek's Torch and you have no idea if that's a common, uncommon, or rare for your next round.
That's true.
You just kind of have to guess based on the text box of, does this seem like a common, uncommon, or rare?
That's true.
But if you think about playing draft and sealed, a lot of the skill comes from playing around stuff as you learn the format.
Yeah.
And a lot of playing around stuff is rarity, right?
Yeah.
Like you play around commons more than uncommons because it's just more likely your opponent has a random common in their hand than any given uncommon.
Yeah.
And here's, you lose to cards and it's like, I don't know how rare that is.
Could you imagine losing to Kaervek's Torch repeatedly?
Just like,
Not
how
me.
did everyone open this thing? It's like,
Not me.
well, it's a common actually.
Oh, okay. As Patrick did mention, this tournament was basically just a pre-release for Mirage. No prior previews or leaks of any kind took place, and it was a professional tournament where players never saw any of the cards before opening their starter decks, so mission accomplished as far as a planning standpoint is concerned. Now, a couple of new rules were introduced to this particular tournament. There was the new intentional draw rule and the deck randomization rule that was implemented for this Pro Tour, and they were covered in detail in the player meeting that happened the night before the tournament. Just a weird little thought, just the player meeting happening the night before. Normally it happens the day of, but that just means that, the Thursday before, presumably, they did like player registration plus player meeting and then sent everyone along their way, or maybe there was some free food, who knows. The ID rule, so the intentional draw rule, was a reaction from a match where Mike Long and Mark Justice wanted to draw, but it wasn't allowed in the rules, so they played slowly and they went to time. That'll show them.
Talk about a sliding doors moment in Magic organized play. Because you can walk away from that moment going, okay, look, at the end of the day, we're constrained by a clock. And once we're there, we can't really force players to necessarily play at a particular pace. They can just force the draw anyway. And so why not just say, okay, intentional draws are allowed? That's one option. The other is they're both disqualified.
Yeah, that is the other option.
And we make an announcement that if we ever catch anyone doing something like that again, you two will be disqualified.
Yes.
Magic went the first way. I would guess Magic would be a better competitive game if they had went the second way.
I agree.
But we'll never know.
I agree. So let's talk about the player meeting a little bit more, because it didn't show any of the new cards, but it did cover flanking and phasing, along with the card type mana sources that replaced some interrupts. So here's why I think this happened. You can cover flanking and phasing as keyword abilities without showing any of the cards that have it on some sort of PowerPoint presentation or however the heck they showed this, Because what you don't want to have happen is people open up their cards during deck build and every person just go, Judge,
Yeah.
what the hell is phasing?
Mhm.
How does it work? Judge, what is flanking? How does this work? Because that's actually what happens, right? In that situation is everyone just goes, help, I don't know how this works. And you don't want to have to take on, how many players were there? 192? 192 judge calls. That sounds terrible. And of course, during the deck building process, it's a quiet process and it's a solo process. So I can't go, yo, dude, flanking, how does this work?
Right.
Yeah, you can't do that either. So they cover that without revealing the cards, as our notes tell us here, and then mana sources that replace some interrupts. Cool. In 96, this is a nice fun fact. You didn't get to add basics to your deck in limited. You had to play the basics that were open in your starter deck. This explains why the mana bases were so bad.
It's called sealed deck. You build a deck out of sealed product. You do not add anything that includes basic lands. Awesome.
So what you will see in the portion when Patrick and I play, and also when we get to the deck list portion of the episode, and you can skip ahead if you want to, I can't stop you. The mana bases are disgusting. Because, yeah.
There literally aren't enough lands in the decks to build the devil's mana base, as I like to call it, the old 666.
Oh,
but it basically has as close to that as you could possibly get. You
that.
Literally cannot build a 2-color deck.
That is the 666. I never heard it referred to as the devil's mana.
The devil's
base.
mana.
That's a very funny thing, which obviously has changed since then. All right, let's dive into the Pro Tour Atlanta prize pool, which saw a little bit of a bumpski poo. So if you take a look, you'll see that the prize pool for the Pro Tour Columbus in 1996 was a cool $125,000. The prize pool for the World Championship in 1996 was a cool $130,000. And then Pro Tour Atlanta's prize pool was a nifty $150,000. So the money we're still going up.
But I think that this also is relatively well attended too, compared to some of those earlier tournaments.
Yeah, I mean,
the attendance keeps going up.
192 for this one.
Yeah, I thought the Worlds, my recollection for Worlds was that it was quite a bit smaller than 192.
I think you're right about it being smaller. This is going to be a live check-in for the attendance on 125.
Okay,
in 1996. Yeah, so this is bigger. And then Pro Tour Columbus, I just want to check that one really quick. Glad I got these documents handy so I can tell you what that one was. That one, okay, 136. Good call by you. Okay. Good memory.
Yeah.
For some reason, I remember these being bigger.
Yeah. Well, because I remember when we were talking about the early Pro Tours where it's like, oh, well, actually, your equity here is about $1,000 ahead.
Okay.
And then when you were talking about the prize pool against the attendance, I was thinking, okay, well, that's closer to about $750 ahead. So the only explanation is that this one is a lot larger. And then I remember that the World's attendance, even though I don't remember the exact number, I was surprised by how low it was.
Yeah.
By modern standards. So I sort of pieced it together clue by clue.
Okay.
I didn't literally remember it.
Well,
I just kind of had this frame of reference.
To what I say, good job by you. Good job by you.
Thanks, man.
We got some top 8 players that we're going to talk about here. So let's go first to, not technically worst, but 8th. We're going to start here with Frank Adler, the winner of this Pro Tour from Germany. He's the first German to win a Pro Tour. And I don't know if you knew this, but there's going to be another German.
Wasn't the last.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't spoil too much.
Far from the last. Frank, unfortunately, with no other Pro Tour top 8s. He played the next 6 PTs after this one and the World Championship, but unfortunately, no money finishes. So this was the big breakout. We have some fun notes here from his tournament report, which appears to be co-written by one Tight Thomas Gwevin. Quote, Friday, 9:30 a.m., starting to read new cards. I've had a hard time reading all cards, build a deck and write it all down. I've got some good cards, Sealed Vate, Vaporous Jin, Torch, short for
Kaervek's Torch.
There you go. And able to get 15 points and finish as number 5. Okay, end quote. Next one, quote, Sunday, I'm late for deck building. I thought they would start at 9, but deck building started at 8. I was happy to get the Savage Twister, a torch, and some good creatures and finish deck building just in time, end quote. Love the idea. That one. It sounds like maybe what time deck building was not communicated, but I will also say Magic players.
But it also shouldn't matter that much because this is top 8, right?
Yeah.
Just knock on the guy's hotel room. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably like across the street.
It's not like you're running a 3,000 person Grand Prix.
That's true.
So the 8 people, you see 7. Someone go find the 8th guy.
I also just like the idea of like I showed up an hour late and they're just like, come on in.
Yeah.
Just build your deck. You only get like 25 minutes.
This is a joke. Yeah. It's just, we're playing for a lot of money, but it's not that serious.
I love it. I love it.
I love it too.
Next, finals. Summarize a little bit here. Adler wins game 1 behind Savage Twister, 4-for-1. Who would have thought? Mm-hmm. Can't stop Darwin's creatures in game 2. Darwin sides in white cards. Adler thinks this not the greatest of moves. Wins game 3, and in game 4, Darwin floods, and Adler uses Tropical Storm to kill multiple flyers and wins the match 3-1. Quote, I'm very happy that the final was without losing a game to drawing no land, end quote. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good
Magic players have not changed.
That's true.
It was 28 years ago.
We've been this way.
And it's just the same thing.
It really is.
Yeah, I got lands and spells. I got some of my creatures seem good, and I got a fireball, and just kind of played it out, whatever.
I have this X bill that kills all their stuff. Not so bad.
So, interesting thing here, in one of Frank's remarks here, talking about getting to 15 points.
Yeah.
What I'm assuming that means is 15 match points.
Yeah, that'd be my guess.
What I'm assuming that means is that early on when they added the IDs, ID was worth 1 point and a win was worth 2. Because that would mean 7-1-1, which would make sense as it's 9 rounds. That's a top 8 record typically. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I don't know what the point was where Magic said, okay, wins are worth 3 points now.
Yeah.
To try to de-emphasize the value of draws and intentional drawing.
Yeah.
But here it sounds like it's just 2 versus 1.
Look at you. You're on it today.
Yeah.
You are on it. Wow. I didn't even consider that. Second place, Darwin Kastle from the United States. This is his second final day. He's a future Magic Hall of Famer elected in the inaugural class. Darwin has 12. He's 12th all time, in Pro Tour earnings at close to $150,000. He won Pro Tour Washington, D.C. in 1999. He's got 8 Pro Tour top 8s, which is 3rd all time behind some dudes named John Finkel and Kai. And then he also appears on the Card Avalanche Riders. After winning the 2nd Magic Invitational. He played in 48 Pro Tours, from Pro Tour New York 1996 to Pro Tour Kobe in 2004. Now he spends his time moonlighting as a game designer and has worked on numerous games, including Versus System alongside you.
Yeah, he and I worked together on Versus System about 20 years ago. Another YMG star, Rob Doherty, has his own game design outfit going on there, and I believe Darwin works very closely with Rob.
I did not know all of these things about Darwin. I didn't know he was 12th all time in Pro Tour earnings. I had no idea that he played in that many Pro Tours. I did know he was a Magic Hall of Famer. I did not know that had so many Pro Tour top 8s.
Darwin's counting stats are ridiculous.
Yeah, they are.
There is occasionally a disconnect because after Darwin got into the Hall of Fame, he did what many Hall of Famers do, which is not really prepare super hard and sort of show up just to hang out and play some rounds. Mm-hmm. And when the Hall of Fame initially started, the Hall of Fame meant all Pro Tours, qualified for everything for the rest of the time.
Yep.
Now they say you get 1 a year, but back then it was everything. So Darwin, as we get to the late aughts, early 2010s, shows up to Pro Tours, doesn't do particularly well, and people who don't know much about the history of the game are like, well, why is this person in a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Yeah, this
is why. Because he was perhaps the greatest player of the 90s.
Okay, wow.
And his counting stats are ridiculous.
The counting stats are absurd.
When you write that out, it's like, eight Pro Tour top, 3rd lifetime pro points and 12th all time in earnings or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, I had no idea his numbers were like this.
That is how I felt.
When we go through these early Pro Tours, it's going to be Darwin's name all over the place.
3rd place, Aaron Morinaka from the United States. Not too many other notable finishes outside of this one, and then a 58th place at Pro Tour Dominaria, which was within the past handful of years. He's played in a handful of Pro Tours, not that many. And after some sleuthing, we've learned that he is a huge Utah Jazz fan and enjoys other games like Lorcana, Marvel Snap, and League of Legends. So a gamer through and through. Next up, number 4, fourth place is John Yoo, Y-O-O, for the United States. First of 2 Pro Tour top 8s, the other in Los Angeles in 1997, and is now a game designer for Blizzard, some small little rogue company.
Yeah, just a mom and pop studio.
Yeah, hope they end up doing okay. 5th place, got more on this individual, Terry Borer from Canada. First of 2 Pro Tour top 8s with a win coming at Pro Tour New York 1997. He apparently is the main character in one of MTG's biggest Pro Tour blunders, described in detail by Mark Rosewater in his PT retrospective article. Quote, "The second memorable event is what I consider to be the greatest screw-up in the history of the Pro Tour. In the quarterfinals, Canadian Terry Borer is playing American Darwin Kastle. Borer has the win in his hand. All he needed to do was attack and cast his spell, Grave Servitude, on an unblocked creature, but he gets tricky and asks Kastle, quote, 'Do you have any fast effects?' End quote. When Kastle replied no, Borer discovered that he had accidentally missed his opportunity to play his spell as he had passed priority. Kastle was able to win on his next turn, knocking Borer out of contention. That mistake didn't just cost Terry the game and the match and possibly the tournament. It also cost him just enough pro points such that he later lost the Player of the Year race to countryman Paul McCabe, end quote. Yikes.
So there's an old pro who put me onto this sort of trick. Rules are different back in the day. Magic were they? Magic has this interesting history of just, did you slightly miscommunicate? All right, the hammer's coming down. Did you obviously cheat? Well, who knows?
Sure.
That's what the rules were like in the 90s and early 2000s. So this was the thing that you could do, reminiscent of Terry's mistake. Back in the day, Magic players, they're just not that good. You could even play against people at Pro Tours who really weren't that good. So you ask your opponent, just let me know when I can lightning bolt you. Got a red man up. Just let me know when I can lightning bolt you. Because people very commonly lightning bolted their opponent randomly on turn 1. That was a thing that happened.
Okay.
So you, Cedric, player who knows what's going on, who obviously wants me to bolt you instead of your Birds of Paradise or whatever going on, you go, yeah, you can bolt me now. And I go, okay, you pass priority. I pass priority. My turn. Just time walk.
Sure. Okay.
So Terry time walked himself.
Yes.
But there was a way to do it the other way where you time walked them.
Playing for keeps. I didn't grow up exactly in this era, but
neither did I.
I can enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, it's just a very different time.
You ain't kidding. Great time to mention 6th place, Mike Long. It was a different time indeed.
Yeah.
From the United States. First of 4 Pro Tour top 8s, including one win in Paris 1997, which we'll be getting onto this show, which we'll be doing on this show, eventually. Member of 3 Team Nationals winning squads. He is a Magic Invitational champion in Barcelona in 1999. He's immortalized on the card Rootwater Teeth, a fitting name due to his, we can say, shady history, including being banned from the Cape Town Magic Invitational in 2001, which I'm just going to...
Getting banned from an invitational is crazy.
That's tough to do.
That is crazy.
But what I was going to say is, can we get a tournament in Cape Town anytime soon? Is that a thing?
No, they gotta let Ben Sek be the one and only African Grand Prix champion.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting banned from that tournament's nuts.
Getting banned from a casual tournament.
Yeah. You can't sit with us.
Really good stuff.
Yeah.
How does that even happen?
Much has been written about Mike, especially from Mark Rosewater, who touts his charisma and play skill despite his history of shady behavior. Famously, Mike was known for his win against Mark Justice at Pro Tour Paris, the one that he won, and when he got Justice to concede after long exile, his only win condition in the infamous Prosperous Bloom deck. Much like Patrick mentioned that we will be talking about Darwin Kastle at length over the course of this show, Resleevables Tournament Edition, Mike's going to come up too.
Yeah, and he is, famous / infamous for the cheating and general controversy surrounding him, he was also really good at the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to get that lost. These things are not mutually exclusive.
It's true.
In fact, they're often not.
It's true. 7th place, Christopher Pukula, United States. First of 2 Pro Tour top 8s, making back-to-back top 8s in Atlanta and in Dallas. Also has a World's top 8 in Seattle in 1998. Won the 2000 Magic Invitational and is now immortalized as
Meddling Mage.
There it is. Known for helping clean up the Pro Tour in the early days. Chris, helped this stuff actually be a lot more clean, which is worth being in the Hall of Fame by itself, if you ask me. He made his debut in the first Pro Tour in New York in 1996, and unfortunately for Chris, he fell short of making the Magic Hall of Fame numerous times. But we do have some stories here from Chris via BDM, that's Brian David Marshall's Oral History of Limited article. Quote, you go to the Pro Tour, and you've never seen the set before, which is just totally incredible. The entire world was still really inexperienced and limited at that point. This was Pro Tour number 5 if you count Worlds. At this point, the whole world had not even had a round of sealed deck qualifiers. I believe all the PTQs still had been constructed. So there had still been no real driving force teaching people how to play sealed deck. Not only was it a pre-release, not only was it sealed deck, but we were using starter decks and you could only add 5 basic lands to your pool. We'll talk about that in a second. Mirage starter decks, had 22 lands and they were evenly distributed. You could get 5/5/5, 4/4 if one of your best colors was one where you got 4 of those lands. It was a problem. Let me see here. 5/10, 5/5/4/4/4. Either way, not good. I want to take a pause here really quick with the adding 5 basic lands to your pool versus inability to add lands to your deck from earlier. I'm not entirely sure which one's right, and it doesn't matter. Your mana base is going to suck.
Well, I had to assume that Chris's telling of history is correct here.
Yeah.
Because if you assume that it's 5/5/4/4/4, that gets you to a maximum of 14 basic lands if you're 3 colors.
Okay.
And the decks that we are playing later on in the show have more than 14 lands.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Okay.
I'm just cracking all sorts of codes on this episode.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Like a really good job. Another quote here from Chris. Quote, what I really remember about this tournament more than anything was how badly people built their decks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm laughing at this because I've met Chris and had the opportunity to hang out with him a couple of times. He's like an incredibly nice person.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things I enjoy about him.
And even younger Chris was not like that much of a trash talker.
Yeah.
So
for him to say that people built their decks badly just goes to show how bad people were at sealed deck and limited back in the day. Let's finish on this quote here. It was totally unbelievable. Brian Weissman, who was known for the deck, did not play his Savage Twister, which is really crazy. It's a really powerful limited card. And when I said he didn't play it, I don't think he played red-green. And in hindsight, it's pretty clear that he should have played red-green because he's Brian Weissman. He built the white-blue deck. I remember him saying to me he didn't think Savage Twister was that good. And I said, quote, I'm just going to have to disagree with you on this one. What are you talking about? End quote, end quote. I think Chris is correct on Savage Twister.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And early Magic has all these constructed Pro Tours where you go back in time and you say to yourself, look, if someone knew what the best deck was, could have just built Necro Donate at Pro Tour Chicago or whatever.
Easy dub.
There, what would have been the easiest Pro Tour to win if you knew in hindsight what you could have done?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Pro Tours from the 90s are going to come up the most because it's the place where the lack of information and experience and sort of community knowledge of how to build decks is the most pronounced.
Yep.
It might be Atlanta. Could you imagine sending any functional 2024 limited player to that event? I'm not even saying they know a Mirage ahead of time.
Yeah.
They just understand limited well enough to how do you build seal decks and what's good and what's not good.
Yeah, it's game.
Could you imagine, like me or you playing in this event, knowing what we know now?
Yeah.
It's like, how do you think we would win more than half the time?
The number would be really high.
Really high, right?
It'd be really
it's
high.
pretty hard to lose the way that things are being described here.
Yeah. That's a really good point, actually.
One of the best players on the planet going, I don't think Savage Twister is very good.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's like, okay. How could anyone who knows what's going on lose?
Yeah, this is inarguable. This is one of the best cards in the set.
Yes.
For limited play. I'm not sure it's good.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like, and it's like, why is Brian Weissman thinking that? It's because he's used to playing vintage the deck where no one ever has any creatures in play. Yeah, so of course you don't value Savage Twister if you can't imagine your opponent ever having a creature that was threatening.
Yeah, what are those doing out there?
Yeah.
What are you doing with those things?
It's like, oh, okay, well, I have the moat. I have moat in the abyss, so I'm not like threatened by a random creature that much.
Yeah.
Mirage Sealed is a slightly different animal.
Let's get to 8th place here. I'm going to screw up his last name because I'm on the spot. Matthew Villeneuve. Thank you so much. From Canada. Mm-hmm. Probably best known for his writing and tournament reports, such as a couple of the ones that we got this information from. So thanks, Matthew. His lone PT top 8 was here in Atlanta. He's also won a couple of limited Grand Prix and a couple of great stories from his PT Atlanta recap, including this one about how IDs were allowed. Quote, as we prepared to play the 9th round, a judge approached Aaron and I and said we could draw into the top 8. This may not sound weird to anyone familiar with how tournaments work today, but intentional draws never existed before, so we didn't have a clue that we could pass on playing the final round. You just played to win as many matches as you could and hope the tiebreakers cut your way. It was an amazing switch in mood from, I better win this match, to, I'm in! It's the only time in my entire career that I've had a judge come by to tell me I didn't have to play the round, but they knew no one would know about draws and made sure everyone was treated fairly. Except Chris Pakula, who was paired down for the final round and had to play. I remember Chris protesting that it wasn't right that he not be allowed to draw into the top 8 like the rest of the 7-1 players. As I went over to listen in on the conversation, a tall, awkward kid with curly hair turned me away, saying Chris wanted to deal with it privately. That was my introduction to John Finkel from the junior circuit, the nemesis of my friends Paul McCabe and Terry Borer. That's fun. And here's a story on how this was the first Pro Tour where WotC deducted taxes from the prize checks. Quote, at Pro Tour Columbus, they just wrote out checks to everyone. I think it was by hand, but apparently those pesky IRS folks caught wind of this and insisted that they withhold 30% of the winnings for foreign players like myself, end quote. Can't be leaving the States with all of our money.
No.
Sorry, can't have it.
Yeah. Uncle Sam, undefeated at the Pro Tour.
He looms large.
Yes.
He's everywhere and nowhere all at once. I got a couple of notable non-top 8 finishes here to round out this segment of the show. 10th place, Mark Justice. Remember that he has 4 Pro Tour top 8s in his career. 18th place, The Hump, Dave Humphreys. He's an MTG Hall of Famer, handful of Pro Tour top 8s with a win at Washington, D.C. 1999, which was team limited. He also, works on Magic now and has been doing that for a really long time. A quick story here from The Hump from BDM's Oral History of Limited article. Quote, my experience there was an awesome one, but it was a little unfortunate how Mirage was pretty imbalanced, toward red. It seemed like almost everyone who top 8'd that PT had multiple red X spells and Hammer of Bogarden. I'm almost certainly exaggerating, but there was Volcanic Geyser and Instant Speed X spell, Kaervek's Torch, and Hammer of Bogarden. Those cards are good and limited now.
At least at this Pro Tour, Hammer of Bogarden is bound by the fact that you literally don't have enough mounds available to you to pick it up and replay it reliably.
Sure, that's
the point.
True.
Stands though. Volcanic Geyser, Twister, Torch, and the creatures in the other colors aren't appreciably better.
Yeah,
that's the thing about the early Magic sets, and by early I mean you go into the aughts. It's still like this. Why is red and black always the 2 best colors in sealed? Always.
It's removal.
Well, it does have removal.
Yeah.
And the other colors don't at this time.
Yeah.
And, they eventually start moving into, Oblivion Rings and fight style effects in green being common. But a major problem, I would say even a bigger problem than what you're mentioning, is the fact that the creatures in red and black are not appreciably worse.
Oh,
you could
sure.
balance limit in a way. And green gets 4 mana 4/4s with abilities. And red and black get, 3 3s for 4, but they have removal.
Yeah.
And that's one way you could try balancing it. And there's some Magic blocks where that exists. But here, you can't really tell the white, green, and blue creatures are appreciably better. In fact, they're not. And so then you're really going to feel, yeah, and there's Torch, Geyser, Twister, Hammer, whatever else.
I'm not sure how Bay Falcon feels about this assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Bay Falcon that thing's a humdinger.
A dealer.
One more. And one more. You'll see a little of that later. 20th place, Tommy Hovey, MTG Hall of Famer. First player to win 2 PTs, LA 97, Rome 98. 26th place, Alan Comer, MTG Hall of Famer, 4 Pro Tour top 8s. 32nd place, Ollie Rod, MTG Hall of Famer, 4 PT top 8s. Won the first Invitational in 97. Immortalized as Sylvan Savekeeper. And if memory serves, Player of the Year in the first season of the Pro Tour because he won a PT and then got second in a PT. If my brain's working right, let me make sure my brain's working right, Ollie. What a master, by the way. Just, yep. Oh, yeah, this was the note that I had in the last episode. At the end of the season, Ollie Rod was awarded Pro Player of the Year despite having competed in only 2 Pro Tours, right? Come on, man. Winning one and finishing 4th in the other, not second, pardon me.
Yeah, some of the early stats, it doesn't really hold up to modern scrutiny in some ways because just number of Pro Tours and Pro Points and whatever are very different, along with just information and how playtesting works and all of that.
Yeah.
But this stat is basically like, imagine if Babe Ruth has the home run record one season playing in 70 games.
Yeah, sure.
It's like,
sure.
That stat suggests that something different is going on during that era, but that's still impressive. Like you have to you can't just wave your hands of that and say it was back in the day. That is impressive.
Got to give him his flowers. 33rd place, we got Scott Johns. 50th place, we have Ton Champagne. And then 64th place, your boy, Matt Place. So those are some names that did not make the top 8 that did well here. Then we also have a fun little note here on it's unclear. We want to talk about the juniors division a little bit. Juniors division information is a little bit more difficult to find, but it's unclear how many players participated in the junior division tournament at Pro Tour Atlanta. But Aaron Souders beat Lewis Barrel in the finals. The top 8 standings and scholarship prize money for each was the following. First place, Souders got $8,400. Second place, Barrel, $5,000. Third place, Jason Gordon, $2,900. Fourth place, Daniel Connolly, $2,900. And then 5th through 8th place, they get the same amount here in $1,700. Those players are David Lively, Trevor Blackwell, James Murphy, and Alexander Sutherland. So there you go.
So Trevor Blackwell,
I've heard that name.
Yeah, at least one Pro Tour top 8.
Yeah.
And I think was a U.S. national champion and captain of the national team.
Wow.
One year.
Okay.
2000, I want to say 2001.
I can do a Google search on that.
Because I think that the when Eugene made the team and came in 3rd, I think Trevor won that year.
Let's see if I can find
And I think a top 8 in Pro Tour Chicago.
Well, you know what?
What?
An article came up here on Star City Games. How I won nationals first.
Bang.
You've read the nationals coverage on Sideboard Online. You thought Trevor Blackwell won that. Wait, hold on. Was I just tricked? I know. I'm reading this right now. I know what you're thinking. You've read the nationals coverage on Sideboard Online. You thought Trevor Blackwell won nationals. Don't believe everything you see. Look closely at the coverage. You'll notice a few flaws that should give you a hint that thinks, oh, okay, I think I'm being trolled by the beginning of this article. Come on.
Yeah, this is annoying.
Come on. This is annoying. Boo.
Sure, yeah.
Boo. I'm trying to do a history show here.
This is the type of thing that people thought was funny.
I would never let this through if I was editor of Star City at this time. Get better jokes. Okay. Back to your regularly scheduled program. I apologize. Let's talk about the team competition that took place at Pro Tour Atlanta. First of all, Pro Tour Atlanta played host to the first ever team competition, which is pretty cool. Teams were made of 5 players, and the format was team sealed, which was 5.
Just a brick of sealed text.
5 starters of Ice
Awesome.
Age. And 5 booster packs of alliances per team. Teams used the same pool in Swiss and top 4. Not entirely sure how many teams participated, but we do have a top 4. First place was the Pacific Coast Legends. They won $11,000. That was Mark Chalice, Scott Johns, Mark Justice, Preston Poulter, and Mario Robania. I'm definitely getting that wrong. I'm doing the best I can. Second place, Team Oasis. They won $6,000. Dave Leon. I'm going to go with Dave Leon. Mike Rain King. Kevin Stelzer. Jeff Sternal. And Chris Stellar. I mean, this is impossible, these names. I'm doing okay, though. Third place, Team Canada, $4,000. Matthew.
Villeneuve.
Thank you. Terry Borer, Eric Tam, Paul McCabe, and Sean Davies. And then fourth place, Team Reservoir Dogs, $4,000. Oh my God. Jonas Eckenval, Martin Peinenberg, Frank Adler, Hans Stoking, and Thomas Anderson. I think I did okay on that one. Okay. So there's your first ever team competition, which implies we're probably going to cover more team competitions in the future. Here's what I can tell you for sure. The facts, they're done. We got through them. What a wild tournament. Mirage Sealed deck. It looks as though you could have added 5 basic lands to what you opened from your starter decks per Pakula. Okay. A wild top 8, as you mentioned. It's like, it's a good top 8. It ages well.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's a real thing. But just the idea of this tournament, like you've mentioned at the top,
and then just on the side, just 5-on-5 Ice Age alliances sealed for tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, what's that about?
What an event! I wish I could have been at this one.
Yeah, this does weirdly sound fun.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of magic going on, and actually all of it's nonsense.
Yes,
it's all nonsense.
It's complete. It's a complete joke for so much money.
Yeah,
what a tournament!
Can we just play standard? Like, can we just play normal? No, you cannot. Mirage pre-release over here and just blocks of Ice Age over here. All right.
For a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a
lot of money.
Yeah, it is not a small amount of money. That's for sure. Okay. Facts done. Short break incoming. Come back. We're going to go over the 2 decks that we play right after this. All right, everybody, we are back to go over the decks of Pro Tour Atlanta 1996. But before we do, we're going to teach you a little bit more about one of our favorite YouTube channels, Brian Colville's channel, Bosch Enroll. Head over to youtube.com/Bosch Enroll to watch Eternal Constructed Specialist Brian Colville play a new Eternal deck every single weekday. With over 1,000 videos in his YouTube archive, if there's a certain Eternal card or deck that you want to see in action, Brian has almost certainly played with it, and there will be video for you to watch of it. Best of all, Brian is outrageously good at Magic, as he's a SCG Tour Invitational Champion, a Grand Prix Champion, and an Eternal Weekend Vintage Champion. YouTube.com/Bosch Enroll, where Magic history is played every day. Alrighty, so the decks for Pro Tour Atlanta. Now, if you've watched previous episodes of the Resleevables Tournament Edition, most of the time we cover Constructed and we go over the top 8 decks and we kind of break down why people ideally built their deck the way they do. We've gone over decks like Ernemgeddon and Stasis and various builds of Necropotence. We're not doing that here because this is Mirage Sealed deck. So instead, we have 2 heinous decks to bring you, starting with Frank Adler's winning deck. Green, red, blue. And yes, it is 42 cards. Now, among those 42 cards, the aforementioned Bay Falcon, 2 Ekundu Cyclpps, 1 Lightning Reflexes, a Reckless Embermage, a Savage Twister, a Stalking Tiger. There's a card that I really liked in here, I think. The Sandbar Crocodile.
Yeah, 6/5 phasing for blue and 4.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that card. And I'm bearing the lead here just a little bit. A Kaervek's Torch.
It's a nice common.
It is. And a 6/6/5 1 mana base. The 1 being Teferi's Isle.
Which is busted and sealed. Because nothing happens and then you torch them for 1 million.
Maybe some foreshadowing.
Maybe.
Perhaps. Any thoughts on this deck? Spoiler alert. As you guys have probably picked up on the show, we've played the games already. So we're going over the decks right now.
Playing 42 cards with a Builder's Bane is insanity. There's just not that many artifacts. I guess it's possible. I will give Frank the benefit of the doubt here.
Okay.
and offer that even once we got to top 8, Frank really didn't know how many artifacts people had.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
You just don't know.
Or like all of his opponents had a fire diamond. And they're like, okay, sure, I'll get their mana.
Maybe he lost to an artifact day 1. And was just maybe like, not again.
The big old dragon or something.
Yeah. Who knows?
I don't know. But knowing what we know now, I would probably remove the Builder's Bane.
Probably.
Go down to 41.
Probably a wise decision. That's Frank's deck. Now we'll take a look at Darwin's deck. This is the deck that I played. It is 40 cards. Job well done, Darwin. It is black, blue, and green. And it contains, one could argue, no good cards. I've got 2 Enfeeblements. I have a Drain Life with an 8 Swamp, 5 Island, 5 Forest mana base. All right. I have a
Drain Life. Singular. Yeah. 1 life.
I have a Breath Stealer.
Nice.
I have a Crash of Rhinos.
Sick.
If that can ever be cast. A Giant Mantis. A Ravenous Vampire. That one. Some more foreshadowing here, perhaps. Don't forget about that. Dealer. Sequata. How do you like to say it?
I say Suata.
Okay, Suata. Firewalker with 5 islands. It's a double blue.
And yeah, not only 5 islands, but easily the best card in Darwin's Seal deck. Like a card that's worth going out of your way to make sure you can cast.
That's right. And then a card that I did enjoy casting, 2 copies of Wild Elephant. Look, there's no real way to analyze these decks in a meaningful way. They're both horrible, but that was the nature of the tournament. So what can you do? Yeah.
Just battle.
I'll tell you what you can do. Exactly what he said. You can battle. So we're going to send this show to our second Resleevable studio and do some battling right after this. All right, everybody. We are here in Resleevables HQ number 2. Cedric over here. Patrick over there. We've gone over all of the facts. We've gone over the deck list. We've gone over the players. Now it's time to play some medium magic. How's that sound?
I like this format just fine. It's not that bad. It's not. There are worse.
Patrick likes easy.
Yeah, we did a little bit of warm up here before we got started, and I was having the time of my life while losing.
That's good. That's good. Hopefully that continues. You're going to be playing Frank Adler's deck that won the tournament in Atlanta. I'll be playing Darwin Castle's deck that got 2nd place in the tournament. We're undecided because we have no sideboards. This is limited. This is not constructed. Probably going to be 2 out of 3, but if we're having a lot of fun, oh god.
I want to play the full set.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I'll compromise. Okay. 1st to 3 wins. So a maximum of 5.
Okay.
But if it's 3-0 or 3-1, we'll just call it.
All right, that's fine.
Okay.
That's a fair compromise. Well done. There you go. You can do high roll or odd even, whatever you want. I know you like to mix it up.
High roll.
Okay. Okay.
Off to a good start.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Game. We're gonna find some playable hands. Patrick will be on the. Patrick will be going.
I'm gonna play.
It's actually a question we have to ask.
Oh, for sure. It's probably better to draw, but you know.
Okay.
Come on. In the spirit of not confusing our audience, I'll just take the play.
All right. Patrick's on the play. We're gonna find some playable hands. Rob, make a cool cut. Playable hands have been found. Do what you do.
Go.
Swamp. Go ahead.
Merfolk Raiders. Blue and colorless, 2/3, phasing and island walk. Go ahead. Oh yeah. But you don't have to worry about it for a few turns.
Yeah. It's a little.
And then even then, only every so often.
It's a little slow out of the gate. Swamp. Go ahead.
It's phased.
It went underwater. That's what I'll say.
Bay Falcon, 1/1 flying vigilance.
Okay.
Go.
Vigilance in blue, huh?
Yeah, it's a different time.
Alright. Forista. I have a Cadaverous Knight. It is a 3 mana 2/2 flanker, and I can pay 1 and BB, so 3 mana to regenerate it. Your turn. They don't put regenerate on cards anymore.
No, it's not. It's not great.
Yeah.
As a mechanic. at a baseline. And if you want to do that, I think ward is just a better way to do it.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Or you can do a trick that like regenerate target creature. I think that's fine too.
Sure.
I think as an ongoing ability on creatures, it's pretty rough.
I think their version of regenerate nowadays is like the not dead after all effect.
Sure, that's another way to do it.
Yeah, like if it dies, it comes back and something happens.
And that opens up like cool synergies and stuff like that. It's just regeneration on a creature is not great, but I don't want that to distract from the.
It's come out of the sea.
Phased back. No, it went like time traveling.
I mean, sure. I like to see it as underwater and then it's like, all right, I'm popping up. Yeah. 17.
Ooh. Oh, first attack of the morning. It's important as my cup of coffee. Reckless Embermage. 4 mana 2/2. I can pay a red and a colorless to deal 1 damage to target creature or player and 1 damage to itself.
Okay, sure.
This card is busted.
Yeah, it's going to die in a second.
Okay, that's disappointing.
I don't think I can let that hang around.
No.
It actually has relevant text. Alright.
Not blocking that.
So you're at 18.
Flanking. What if I do this? Does it? Everything died. All that has regeneration.
All your stuff's dead?
Yeah.
If you do that, that's what happens. Enfeeblement. Enchanted creature gets -2/-2, cost BB.
Yep.
Your turn.
So happy. So happy.
Yeah. 16.
Quirion Elves. When Quirion Elves comes into play, choose a color, and it can tap for green or the chosen color.
Okay.
2 mana 1/1.
Alright.
I am going to name blue.
Blue it is. Nicely done.
Go ahead.
Alright, untap and draw. Get you.
Yep.
16 up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a swamp. It's a wild elephant.
Yep.
This is a 4 mana 3/3 trampler. Summon elephant. Your turn. Oh yeah. 13.
I'm going to play a Locust Swarm.
Okay.
4 mana, 1/1 flying. Stay with me, it gets better.
Okay.
You can pay green to regenerate it,
Yeah.
or a green to untap it. It is your turn. Once per turn. Only once per turn on the untap.
That card is horrible.
It's in play. What's that? You know that old Chambers expression? It's good once it's in play?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not true.
You know, I guess regenerate is pretty good. And if you have a bunch of green mana, which you don't.
It's not, doesn't really line up that well.
It's bad against exactly these.
Oh no, there's other, and others.
Sure. Alright, well, let's start our turn off with Dream Catch.
Oh yeah.
So draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. And then choose 2 cards from your hand and put both on either the top or the bottom. Well, this is an easy decision. Bottom. Cool. Yeah, brainstorm basically. Alright. Let's play a swamp so that we can generate this bozo and battle you. Dude, nice.
Are you passing?
Yeah, I am.
Regenerate.
Okay, I'll trample over for 2. So you take 4.
That's right.
You're at 12.
I can play a clean game.
That's right. And then I'm going to play a Breath Stealer, which is a 3 mana 2/2 summon Night Stalker, and you can pay a black to give it +1/-1.
All right.
So I can make it into a 3/1. Your turn.
Okay.
Draw. Yep. Take a break.
Yeah. What on earth?
Oh, this should be fun. We got a reader.
Why?
Why not?
All right.
I'll take
business.
2. I'm at 11.
Your turn.
Okay. Okay. I great. Draw. Battle. Battle stations. Yep. Timely.
Okay.
Yes.
Moved blocks.
You are more than welcome to. Yes.
Effects before damage.
Let's see what this does really quick. This seems like a good place for this. You really anything?
Ooh.
Oh, never mind. Barrier in a turn. Never mind.
Yeah, you can either play it as a giant growth or.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna hang on to this thing. You didn't see Armor Thorns.
I do not.
Pass priority.
Before damage.
Yeah. Nice.
Regenerate.
Okay. Take 5. You're at 7.
Yeah.
Go. Yes. Back.
Oh. You're at 11, huh?
11 is 7. With some mystery cards in hand.
Yeah. One. Well, one. Maybe not so much.
Yeah. Okay. Tuning it up. 4? That's 7.
Teferi's Drake. 3/2 flying phasing.
More phasing. Okay.
Go.
Alright. Draw. Orista.
Yeah.
Armor Thorns.
Yeah.
3/2. Battle with the squadron. Absolutely.
Okay. What do we do next? 7 up, huh?
7 up. A wonderful soda pop. Okay.
Looks good to me.
Regenerate. PS, we're playing with new rules, not old rules for everyone.
We're not stacking yet.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Even damage on the stack didn't even goes back then.
Okay.
That's 6th edition.
Okay, sure, that's true. Regenerate. Or excuse me. Yeah, regenerate.
2 can play that game.
Well done. Damage.
That's good.
Dead. Live. 5. Reduce. Look out, ladies. It's Merfolk here.
I'll torch you for 1 million. Game 2 coming up next.
Cool card. Game number 2. Hopefully with no torches. Starts now. Your turn.
Good.
That's really optimistic. Go. Holy crap.
Is that the Crash of Rhinos? don't tell me.
I'm not. Trust me. Yeah.
Bay Falcon is back.
Yep.
Go.
Vigilante. Swamp. Feral Shadow in the face of Bay Falcon.
Okay.
3 mana, 2/1 flyer. Go. Summon Night Stalker.
Rodman, you.
Well done. Yep. 19. 19, bro.
Go.
That's not the noise an elephant makes. Go ahead. I will tell my father stories, how the elephants trampled the leopard cub and its father.
Sorry to interrupt.
Okay. 18. Though he knew, killed 9 goats instead. That's fun. It's the love song of night and day.
Ekundu Cyclpps.
What is that?
1 red, 3 colorless, 3/4. If any creatures you control attack, Ekundu Cyclpps also attacks if able.
Okay, sure.
So it's all or nothing.
Yeah, okay.
For the Cyclpps.
Alright, sure. Okay, okay. Could be worse. Actually, we're kind of cooking now.
Really?
Yeah. Alright, let's even look at this.
Ooh.
7.
Okay, 7 it is.
Yeah, you're 13.
The tides have swung.
Your turn.
Got a game on our hands,
Yeah.
huh?
Turn around a little bit.
Oh, lightning reflexes your ass.
This is an enchant creature, I know that.
It's the red armor of thorns, +1/+7 for a strike.
Okay. 4.
4.
I'm at 14.
Go. Man, I feel like I've been attacking the whole game. 14, huh? It's bleak. Tidal Wave. Bad news, Cedric.
Put a wave token into play. Treat this to 5/5. That counts as a wall. Okay, sure.
It's basically I made up the worst possible card I could have that would be very good in this spot.
Yeah, and it's quite good in this spot. Yeah. All right, take 2. I agree.
2 it is.
All right, you're at 11. That was actually really good. All right, I got this thing. Dirtwater Wraith.
Yep.
It's a 4 mana 1/3 swamp walk. I can pay a black for what is black fire breathing? What do we call that?
+1/+0. It's not +1/+1.
Yeah, +1/+0.
I would call it Feast of the Unicorn.
Okay, that's fine. Feast of the Unicorn. It's your turn.
I know that you're doing it for obviously the viewers, but I keep having to fight the instinct to say you don't need to read that to me.
Oh yeah, you know that. Yeah. I know these cards by their artwork. Like I remember looking at the artwork at this a lot, but I don't remember what it does. Yeah, 4 more. 10.
Go.
That's not bad. You're not doing much. All right, battle you.
Yeah.
3.
10.
Oh no, you're at 8.
Oh no, 8. Sorry.
8. I'm at 10. You're at 8. Cerulean Wyvern.
Yep.
5 mana 3/3 flying pro green. Your turn.
Reality Ripple, untap attack you for 4, torture you for 6.
Not again. Stupid fucking card. Come on. 2-0. Stupid fucking fireball at common.
It's uncounterable.
Awesome.
Uncounterable.
When my lands were this, I drew this.
Oh, really good.
Yeah, that's a long way away. And of course, just in case.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Game 3 might be the last one. Right after this. Game 3. I don't even like the smug look on your face.
Could be the last.
Yeah, almost certainly will be. Go.
I mean, my hand is very bad, but we have evidence that doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter even a little bit.
Go.
This into Skulking Ghost.
Oh boy.
2 mana 2/1 flyer. Skulking Ghost is the target of a spell or effect. Bury it. Go. It's like Welcome Turn before Welcome Turn, kind of.
Yeah. Was Fringe constructed playable? Because
Yeah.
like this is a really good example of how things being unappealing confuses people.
Yeah.
It's like, well, most cards that would target a 1 toughness creature would kill
Kill it anyway.
Right. So what's really the drawback here?
Yeah.
There's sometimes random weird triggers can come up that target. That's bad. Can't put your own pump spells on it. Not something you really want to do anyway.
Yep.
And this card was like, people were like, oh, this card's so horrible. It's the worst card in the set. It's like, no, it's not.
It's totally fine.
Yeah, totally fine. Anywho.
It's going to deal you at least 4. No Bay Falcon, please. Come on.
Bay Falcon. It's just... You're complaining about the torch, but this has been a key feature of the games too.
It has. No. Really. Nights out. Go ahead.
Oh, you're waiting for a better spot with old Skulky. Huh?
I am. I have some enfeeblements to draw.
Let's come back to that.
Okay. I'm just gonna throw my creature in the bin. Yeah, 19.
Quirion Elves, I'll name red.
Good choice.
Go. People can just remember. Yeah.
It. Pierre Elephant. Your turn. We got a lot of good draw steps. How's that? How's that? Finally showed up, huh?
Red legs. Well, I had in game 1 too. It just didn't matter because of the torch.
Okay.
Destroy X target artifacts. For each artifact with a graveyard this way, Builder's Bane deals 1 damage to that artifact's controller. Not really an artifact-heavy set anyway.
But you know, just in case.
Just in case.
Good draw step. Yeah. 18 all.
Ekundu Cyclpps.
Alright, it's bad. Alright.
Good. I've never seen someone play this conservatively with a Skulking Ghost before.
What do you want me to do?
Just block
throw the garbage?
Just block the effect.
What? No way.
You're playing with fire.
Am I?
Yeah.
I think my play is fine. Still giving me 1 point of damage. Ravenous Vampire.
Okay. Alright, fair enough.
Yeah. 5 mana, 3/3 flyer. During your upkeep, sacrifice a non-artifact creature and put a +1/+1 counter on Ravenous Vampire or tap Ravenous Vampire. It's your turn.
It's not a great draw.
Come and get it now, tough guy. I see you. If any creature you control attacks... Okay, so if it flies so...
If I send in the Bay Falcon,
Okay.
I have to bring in the Colossus.
Yeah.
Cyclops, rather. Excuse me.
15.
Okay.
4 mana.
I'm going to Unyaro Bee Sting the Cadaver Snake.
Alright, so this deals 2 to it.
Got it.
That's good.
Go. Plot thickens.
Get some good use out of that ghost. Okay. I mean, that ghost got some wood, though. This Ravenous Vampire card doesn't seem very good. Just...
I didn't want to spoil the ending.
Yeah, just, you know, I'm learning as I go.
My favorite thing is non-token. Can't risk that someone could. Can't have.
It's not artifact. It's not
Oh,
artifact.
it's not artifact.
Yeah,
Okay,
I read it wrong the first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Can't risk someone would have a good time.
that's true.
Yeah, 7.
7. So you're 11 now. Okay. Go. Actually, don't go. Don't go. Don't go. I think it's time we do this, actually. Because you're struggling. 1.
Sure.
So, I'm at...
I don't think that Dream Life's getting much
16.
better.
No, it's really not. Go. Go ahead. 16.
Come on, dealer.
Oh, rip off.
Folks.
Alright, that's the 3/2 phaser.
Phasing flying, yeah. The Fairy's Drake.
Alright.
Go ahead.
Fuck off.
How confidently you played it.
Oh, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
The dice have turned. Alright. That is good.
Yep. Go.
It's also so sick because you can't even like try to fireball me out with the vampire because the Bay Falcon is just like her. It's so sick.
It is ravenous.
Run it back.
All right, 8 all.
Go.
Vampire hanging tough. Okay.
I want to suck your blood.
All right, Pierre. The tidal wave again? All right, let me see this thing again. All right, so
Makes a 5/5 wall token that dies on the turn.
all right, I got you.
Okay, so we have a response.
I have a jolt.
Oh no!
Yeah, how's that? How's that taste? Funny guy.
That is brutal.
Yeah, how's that taste? Funny guy. Tap it.
Oh. Well, this is a spell. It makes a token in the
Yeah,
token.
makes a token. Tap the bozo. Still attacking. All right, take your 3. Take your medicine. You're 5.
Incredible.
And then I get to draw at the beginning of the next upkeep. All right, so go. Draw. Okay. 4. I mean, I obviously have a card, but I use the fucking land. I'm at 4. Okay.
Go.
Oh, it appears to be thirsty.
Is that time?
I think it's that time.
Okay.
I think it's supposed to be, yeah. Alright.
Okay.
Hey, not bad. Alright, lethal. Don't have a spell.
What would be Bay Falcon?
See ya. See ya, Bay Falcon. Seer.
Mm-hmm.
Breath Stealer.
Mm-hmm.
Go. Oh my god. Come on, don't draw land. Don't draw land. Yep. Come on, baby! 5, huh? You are at 5.
This comes back next turn. Draw with this. Yeah, I think it's better. I'll attack. Yep, go.
Sack. Uses ability only when Merfolk is put into the graveyard. Okay. So now I do this.
And respond and face it out.
Alright. So now this is gonna go over here. Okay, okay. So I just draw a card.
Yep.
And then draw my turn.
Yep.
Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Go. Yep.
Say his name and he appears.
Game over.
It was insane.
You see this?
It was insane in the game. I was let screwed.
See this? Thought we were gonna get him? Even drew a
Oh, shout out Frank Adler. Oh, that was a great set.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, what a time.
You didn't even need your Savage Twister ever either.
This never came up.
No, never.
It was never drawn, actually.
I always had it. I was always ready. If it ever came to pass. Well, first to 3. We're all done. Plays out just like it did in the Pro Tour. Frank Adler wins, Darwin Kastle gets second. I imagine Fireball was involved pretty heavily. So that's good.
I'm sorry, I'm crying.
It's okay. It's okay.
The entire time, I was just like, I was actually thinking, like, I really hope I don't draw land number 5. I hope I have to like backdoor
You
it
have
with
to earn it.
a
Yeah,
little
you gotta
bit.
earn it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that time you did, so earned it by casting Fireball 3 straight games. Anyway, we're gonna go back to the other Resleevable studio, put a recap on whatever the hell this is, right after this.
All right, everybody, it's time to put a wrap on this episode of the Resleevables Tournament Edition. But before we do, we're going to tell you how you can maybe get your hands on that Resleevables hoodie and this Ristic Study shirt from my apparel store, Coalesce Apparel and Design. You can head over to coalesceapparel.shop, the #1 store for Magic the Gathering inspired apparel, to check out their selection of shirts, hoodies, stickers, playmats, and a whole bunch more, including their brand new Devoid collection to celebrate Modern Horizons 3 and Resleevables merchandise meant for the loyalist of Jackal Pups. When checking out, be sure to use gift code Resleevables to get 10% off your entire order. Coalesce Apparel and Design, nobody made what they wanted, so they made it themselves. All right, enough shilling. And you know what, honestly, enough fireballs. Could you not? Could you not?
I just played what I drew. It's not my deck. I didn't design the format. Just put some cards in front of me. I even kept it honest. I didn't even throw the Builder's Bane out. Just, I had the 42.
Keep it in. Keep
I had
it
the
in.
42. And
What
it
a
just,
guy.
it's why they don't do it at common anymore.
Yeah.
It's where it just goes the one way.
You know, I thought I was going to win at least one of those games. I was building some momentum.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting things cooking with my wild elephants, and then just dead again.
Mm-hmm.
Dead again. Fireball at common. You know, that Dave Humphreys, there's a reason he designs those magic cards. He's onto something.
He figured it out fast.
I wonder, because
Dave was like, you know what? I don't want to say too strongly here. I feel like red might be a little too good.
I wonder if Dave had red cards in his deck at the tournament.
Almost certainly. I can't imagine playing with cards that are generally just this rancid
Yeah.
with Torch at common and then making day 2 without Torch in your deck.
Well, so Hump didn't make top 8. He's in a notable non-top 8.
They're top 16 though, right?
Let me check the exact number here real quick. Scrolling. So 18th.
18th. Okay.
Yeah. So
18th.
the reason I asked this question is because the way that he framed his statement in BDM's Oral History Unlimited is, you know, the red cards are like it's pretty imbalanced toward red. So do you think maybe he was someone who was like, well, I overcame red and was able to finish in 18th place, but boy, those red cards are busted.
It could be both.
Sure.
It could be like, yeah, I killed a bunch of people with Torch, and also I got killed by Torch a bunch.
Yeah.
There's no reason it has to be only one of the two.
That makes sense. So as we've talked about this tournament, and actually, let me get this out of the way real quickly here. Let's bring up the scoreboard. Yeah, John, Rob, bring it up. Great. 94, you won 4-1. 95, you won 3-2. New York, I won 3-2. LA, you won 3-2. Ooh, Columbus, that seems like so long ago. I won 4-1.
That was that was the Stasis deck. Is that Spiders? Is that where you beat you just?
I think that was a spider.
I think that's when you bashed me with Spiders.
Beat down.
Yeah.
What a spider beatdown that may have been. And then the World Championship 1996. I gotta get my notes in front of me again.
I feel like that was the one where I was down 0-2. And
yeah, that's when I was White Weenie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you came back again, 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then now we have this one where you got the broom out. You got the big broom out. That's okay. Kaervek's Torch can do that. But what I was gonna say is, I think as wild as an event as this was, and as you've mentioned, and I agree with you, that nothing like this could ever happen today. Be impossible. I think the most fun about this event would probably be talking to the players in between the rounds.
Right.
Like going up to your friends and just being like, what's in your deck?
Yeah, this is an incredibly charming tournament to go back over and talk about. There's all these reasons you can't do it nowadays, and maybe for reasons you shouldn't have done it in the first place. But going back through this tournament, I think you and I have the same reaction of, wow, it would have been cool to play in this.
It really would have been. It really would have been. Because I can imagine we're both qualified. We have no idea what's in store for us. right? We go build we build our decks, and I'm just like looking for you. I'm just like, what the hell's in your deck? Like, what cards are in this set? Like, you know, and then you're trying to find like your other friends and trying to find my other friends, and we're trying to like figure out the way to navigate this thing.
Yeah. Or like I show you a Canopy Dragon and you show me one of the other rare dragons.
Okay.
And we go, oh God, there's got to be 3 more of these.
Yeah, sure.
Where we got to figure it out.
Yeah. What are they? What do they do? Everything else, right? Like, how good do, you know, there's the conversation, right, where I'm just going to go to and be like, how good do you think phasing is?
Yeah.
Like, how do we even assess this? We've never played with it before. How good do you think flanking is? It's very easy right now if you're watching, or if just, you know, watch the video and everything. It's like, yeah, flanking is good because of combat, everything else, right? But like, if you're in the moment and you're new to Magic, and it's just like, how do you assess flanking? You can't be too sure about like anything. Hell, Brian Weissman was just like, I don't think Savage Twister's good. You can't be, you know, got that wrong, obviously, but like, you're going to be second guessing yourself, especially when there's a lot on the line. So I love this as an idea, and I would have had a lot of fun playing in it, but this could never happen now.
No.
Never could.
But it's nice that this is part of Magic's history.
Totally agree. Totally agree. So let's shut her on down here, folks. If you're watching this episode, you're probably watching on YouTube, but you could be watching on Patreon as well. And we appreciate either. We hope you're subscribed to our YouTube page. You can click the button, like, subscribe, ring the bell. That's what people say normally at this part of a show. You can find our most recent episode of the Resleevables, where we covered Urza's Saga. It's out now. You can find snippets of our Unsleeved podcast on our YouTube page, and you can, of course, go watch our Crack-a-Pack videos of Urza's Saga and a whole bunch more. If you subscribe to us on Patreon over at patreon.com/Resleevables, that means you got early access to this episode of the Resleevables Tournament Edition and the Resleevables and Crack-a-Pack. You also get complete access to Unsleeved, and you become eligible to win the Crack-a-Pack.
Yeah, if you head over to patreon.com/Resleevables, you can find a variety of tiers that you can sub to. At the $10 and $25 levels, you are drawn for our Crack-a-Pack winnings. What happens is we review a set, and then we get 2 boosters of the set. One we open and make a little video out of it, and the other one we send off to one of our Patreons in the $10 or $25 tier. Now, again, it doesn't require you to sign up or ask to be put in the drawings. It's completely automated once you're subscribed over to Patreon, and you could be the lucky winner of one of the very expensive packs we have coming down the pipeline.
You have
Urza's Legacy.
I have Urza's Destiny. But those, garbage.
Compared to...
Oh, yeah. There.
English P3K we got coming down the pipeline here.
Not cheap.
I've never opened one of these.
Me either.
Yeah.
Me either.
So again, head over to patreon.com/Resleevables. Find the tier that works for you. And if you're interested in being drawn for one of those boosters, find something in the $10 or $25 tier.
You can, of course, follow us on Twitter over at twitter.com/Resleevables, where we post snippets of the Unsleeved podcast and funny things over there. And now we got to mention our sponsors before we head on out the door. Tales of Adventure Eternal lives over there. You can use promo code Resleevables for 5% off your order at checkout. Coalesce Apparel and Design. You can head over there if you're looking for some sweet Magic-inspired apparel and use promo code Resleevables for 5% off your order at checkout. And then Brian Colville's YouTube channel, Bosch and Roll, where he plays Eternal every weekday. You can subscribe to that channel as well. So what's coming up next? Well, we've already shown you those packs of Urza's blocks, so we'll be doing Urza's Legacy next on the Resleevables. And the Resleevables Tournament Edition, we have Pro Tour Dallas 1996 that we are working on right now. That one is a real hum ding dong. And let me tell you, I want to make sure I get the format right here really quick. It was in November of 1996, second Pro Tour of that season, and it was standard, or as the cool kids called it back in the day, Type 2. Mm-hmm. Which I remember saying a lot when I was young.
Yeah, same.
So that was really fun. Well, folks, that's it and that's all. The Mirage Sealed Deck Pro Tour is in the books. I don't know if they've done. I don't know if they did other events like this because I haven't gone through all of this season and next season, the seasons after that. But if they have, I can't wait to cover it. So for Patrick Sullivan, I am Cedric Phillips. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Resleevables Tournament Edition, Pro Tour Atlanta 1996.
Roll whoops here. Torture for $1 million. Cerulean Wyvern. Yep. 5 mana, 3/3 flying, pro green. Your turn.
Reality Ripple, untap attack for 4, torture for 6.
Not again. Stupid.